What's up guys, this is Siom and I want to welcome you to my corner. Roman Reigns has undeniably been the face of WWE for the last 10 years. Whether you cheer him or boo him, nobody has been able to take him down off his spot. From the big dog to the tribal chief, he has been a constant presence in WWE programming. This dominance is reflected in his 10 WrestleMania main events, including this year's, more than John Cena, Hulk Hogan or any other superstar who has held that position. Throughout the years, he has delivered historic encounters while closing the biggest event of the year, whether chasing or defending world championships or facing some of the greatest of all time. That's why in this video I ranked all his WrestleMania main events matches from worst to best. So, without further ado, let's get into today's topic. Let's begin with the one I consider the worst and most unnecessary match in Roman Reigns' WrestleMania record. His winner-take-all match against Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 38. So much was sacrificed just to reach this bout that nobody asked for. The Royal Rumble was ruined by having Lesnar win it for the second time. The Elimination Chamber match was completely wasted with another Lesnar victory. The highly anticipated dream match between Lesnar and Bobby Lashley was mishandled with a disappointing finish. And the WWE Championship was treated like a hot potato in the months leading up to the event. All of this build-up led to the heavily marketed as greatest WrestleMania match in history, which turned out to be the same repetitive encounter fans had grown tired of seeing between the Beast and the Tribal Chief. The match, with both world titles on the line in an unnecessary unification bout, lacked emotion and innovation. The pacing felt rushed and it ended abruptly after just a few suplexes, spears, and a guillotine choke, leaving many fans underwhelmed. The outcome was entirely predictable, Roman defeating Lesnar and walking away with both championships after what is widely regarded as one of the worst WrestleMania main events ever. A forgettable conclusion to an overhyped and lackluster rivalry. Of all the possible opponents they could have chosen for The Undertaker at WrestleMania 33, Roman Reigns was probably the worst option. Roman didn't need this match and neither did Taker. Ever since Roman eliminated the Deadman from the Royal Rumble, we all knew what the outcome would be. It was obvious that these two were going to face each other at the showcase of the Immortals. There was no real reason for this match to happen. At this point in his career, Roman was being rejected by almost every fan. Nobody wanted to see him in the main event scene, as they were tired of the big dog constantly being in the spotlight. And what did WWE to get their supposed top babyface cheered? Of course, they put him against one of the most beloved superstars in history, as if that would help fans change their opinion. Another major issue with this match was its placement on the card. It was given the main event slot when it absolutely did not deserve it, and their performance only proved that. The Undertaker was far from being in his best shape, and Roman was never the type of performer who could carry a match of this caliber on his own. The result was a slow and an overdone encounter that felt like a torture for those who stayed up until the end of the event. And of course, the final nail on the coffin was the finish, Reigns handing Undertaker only his second WrestleMania loss and leaving the stadium drowned in endless boos, further increasing the already overwhelming hatred fans had against him. Let's go with Brock Lesnar again, this time with the second chapter in the WrestleMania trilogy. Brock won the Universal Championship from Goldberg at WrestleMania 33 and practically held the title hostage for an entire year. With very few appearances on weekly television and almost no title defenses, Raw was left without a World Championship for months, forcing the mid-card talent to carry the brand while their champion barely showed up. On the other hand, Roman spent the year being built up as a man destined to dethrone Lesnar, securing major victories over The Undertaker and John Cena in 2017, two of the greatest of all time. WrestleMania 34 was supposed to be the night of Reigns' redemption after their first encounter 3 years prior. Expectations were high for this match, not because fans wanted Roman to win, but because they desperately wanted Lesnar to lose the title. And at this point, with it only being their second WrestleMania clash, people weren't yet tired of seeing these two face off. However, the match was doomed by Lesnar's clear lack of motivation. He just wanted to get through it and go home. The result was an incredibly slow and repetitive finisher fest, consisting almost entirely of suplexes, F5s, spears, and Superman punches. And if the match wasn't bad enough already, WWE failed to give the fans the only thing they wanted. Instead of Roman finally taking the title, Lesnar retained once again, prolonging his dull reign and frustrating the audience even further. We can consider his WrestleMania 32 match against Triple H for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship as a middle point between the terrible previous matches and the good ones we'll see later. It wasn't necessarily a bad match, but the painfully predictable outcome made it boring. The storyline between these two began when Triple H's previous Golden Boy, Seth Rollins, suffered an injury and had to vacate the title. Triple H attempted to recruit Roman as his new corporate champion, but the big dog stayed true to his principles and rejected the offer. Instead, he won the title the hard way at Survivor Series, only to lose it 5 minutes later to Sheamus. A month later, he regained the championship, but his reign was cut short once again after just 40 days, when Triple H entered the Royal Rumble at number 30 and walked away with the title. One of the biggest issues with this match was how poorly the championship had been treated the months leading up to it, being tossed around like a hot potato. But the real problem was the predictability. Everyone knew that Triple H only won the title to drop it right back to Roman at WrestleMania, and when that moment came, it played out exactly as expected, losing the show to a chorus of boos and fast leaving the stadium before the 3 count was even finished. Finally, we enter the best matches in Roman's WrestleMania record. First up, the tag team match alongside The Rock against Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins at WrestleMania 40 Night 1. After losing to Roman in their first encounter, Cody Rhodes started 2024 determined to get another shot at the Tribal Chief and finally finish his story. However, in order to keep the bloodline from interfering, something that had cost him the match before, he needed to get through Roman and The Rock first, with Seth Rollins standing by his side as his shield. Like many of Roman's matches during his historic reign, this one was packed with drama. Cody and Seth gave everything they had against the pillars of the Samoan dynasty in an unpredictable clash where anything could happen. Everyone played their part in making this a great main event, even The Rock, who hadn't wrestled a full match in over a decade. No one fell short here. Unfortunately for Cody, he and Rollins came up short, meaning he would have to face Reigns under his terms the following night. Now, we move on to the match that was never supposed to happen. The 3 men involved, Roman Reigns, Daniel Bryan and Edge, were all once told that they would never wrestle again, that they had to give up on their lifelong dreams. Edge was forced to retire in 2011 due to a neck injury, Bryan in 2016 due to multiple concussions, and Roman had to step away in 2018 after his leukemia return. However, against all odds, each of them made a miraculous comeback to do what they love most. Edge won the 2021 Royal Rumble, earning the right to challenge Roman for the Universal Championship at WrestleMania. But after Daniel Bryan got a title match at Fastlane, only to lose it due to interference from the rated R superstar, a triple threat match was set to settle the score. As expected, Bryan, one of the greatest in-ring performers of all time, delivered yet another classic. But what made this match even more special was how seamlessly Roman and Edge complemented his style. The chemistry between all 3 men was undeniable, the match never lost its pace, and every moment felt impactful. In the end, Roman stood tall, stacking both of his opponents and pinning them simultaneously, solidifying his dominance and continuing what would later become one of the greatest championship reigns in WWE history. For the third position on this list, we go to Cody Rhodes' first attempt against the Tribal Chief. After making a surprise return at WrestleMania 38 and delivering an incredible trilogy with Seth Rollins, Cody was forced to step away due to an injury. He made his triumphant return by winning the 2023 Royal Rumble, setting his sights on finishing his story by challenging Roman Reigns in the main event of WrestleMania 39. That night, a fairy tale seemed to be unfolding. These two told an incredible story inside the ring, with every move igniting the crowd's excitement as they hoped to see their hero accomplish what his father never could. Roman, as always, played the perfect villain, countering everything Cody threw at him and clinging to his championship as if his life depended on it. As expected, the Bloodline Murder presence failed, attempting to secure Roman's victory, but Cody had backup in the form of Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, who neutralized the Usos. For a moment, it seemed like the American Nightmare was about to dethrone the Tribal Chief. However, Solo Sikoa, the Bloodline's final ace, struck at the perfect moment, sealing Roman's victory and crushing Cody's dreams, for now. With the silver medal on Roman's record, we have his first WrestleMania main event against Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 31. While today the Roman vs Brock saga has become tiresome due to its repetitive nature, back then it was still a fresh and intriguing matchup. Fans were curious to see how their sides would blend in a high-stakes battle. However, that doesn't change the fact that Roman's push felt rushed and organic. Most people didn't see him as ready to headline WrestleMania at this stage of his career. The only reason some wanted him to win was to get the title of Lesnar, not because he was a fan favorite. That being said, the match delivered beyond expectations. It was a brutal, hard-hitting fight where every move felt like both men were genuinely trying to destroy each other. And then came the legendary ending. The majority didn't want Roman to win, but also didn't want Lesnar to retain. What was the perfect solution? Seth Rollins, in one of the greatest Money in the Bank cash-ins of all time, set the storm in at the final moments, stealing the world title and creating an unforgettable WrestleMania moment, securing this match highest placement on this list. And for the top spot on the list, we have the fairy tale ending. After everything that happened in the third ranked match, Cody Rhodes spent an entire year rebuilding himself, determined to challenge Roman Reigns once again. Meanwhile, Roman only continued to solidify his dominance, adding more victims and extending his historic reign. Cody earned his second Royal Rumble victory in 2024, and despite The Rock's interference in the storyline, he ultimately secured his rematch against Roman in the main event of WrestleMania 40, Night 2. However, his mission became even more difficult after losing in Night 1 against The Rock and Roman, which led to the title match being contested under Bloodline rules, meaning anything goes and the Bloodline could interfere freely. What followed was an even more dramatic and emotional encounter than their first, culminating in what is arguably the greatest final 5 minutes in WrestleMania main event history. With chaotic interventions from Jamie Uso, Jey Uso, Solo Sikoa, John Cena, The Rock, and even The Undertaker, the ring was finally cleared, leaving Cody and Roman alone once more. This time, Cody had secured the 3 crossroads he couldn't deliver the previous year, finally finishing his story and winning the WWE Championship in one of the most emotional WrestleMania endings ever, celebrating with his family and friends in a truly unforgettable moment. And that will be all for today's video. If you enjoyed it, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more content. If you have a different opinion on the match rankings, feel free to share your own list in the comments. I'll be reading them. See you in the next one.